Guru Stu joins us this morning, and we've got some breaking news, don't we?
Yes, we do. Do. Come on, do it with me. Do it with me. Just in.
Well, there's a lot of talk these days.
Right.
Lots happening.
A lot going on, and I thought I would come on today just to kind of talk about three things that are coming out that we're dealing with, or something that's happened that we need to be aware of, okay? The first one was, last few weeks we've been talking about breaches and security and that sort of thing, which is very important. Well, on April 20th, Sony, anybody who had a PlayStation or a PlayStation 2, anybody who was using the Sony network, okay, they got hacked into. And that means that Sony had been working on it now for almost 6 weeks to get that network back up, and it's been up now. It got up around the end of May, and but we have to make sure people understand that if you had a credit card on file with them, that sort of thing, please take a moment and make sure that you've changed those card numbers, because once they get it, it's just a matter of time before we're going to start using that information.
Right. If you haven't done anything, do something today.
Exactly. Right? And Sony, you know, they took their time in doing this because they wanted to make sure that the network was done right. You know, so that's why it's taken a little bit longer. And it's not just Sony. Think about all the other companies that have watched this and realized that maybe we'd step up our security a little bit in dealing with that. So just for people out there, just kind of a warning. If you are on the Sony PlayStation Network, a lot of people have to use it to get their Netflix off their Sony machines and that sort of thing. Make sure you've changed your credit card information and you've updated that at this time, so you don't have to worry about getting oobled. You know what oobled is?
Oobled.
Yeah, that's when you get your credit card statement and you go, ooh. Oobled. Okay, the second story we want to talk a little bit about is now we're looking at our cell phones and our smartphones. The FCC is looking at the possibility of getting them to be able to send out text messages about local emergencies and national emergencies as well. So even if you don't have text message service, there will be a way that you will be able to get this information. So give me an example. What would happen?
Okay, well, we've got monsoons coming up here.
We've got monsoons, flash flooding, tornadoes, earthquakes, a meteor that's about to slam into the earth that they haven't told us about, you know, so we can run into our cave in Arkansas. You know, these things, are going to happen. The thing that scares me about this, of course, our government is involved in doing this, right? How good is the government in doing anything, right? So what we have to worry about is what happens if that gets breached and they start sending out false warnings. Something to consider, something to think about. I think it's got its positives. It'd be great to know that there's a flash flood coming down the street.
Or if your home is in line of a fire.
Or there's 25 inches of snow coming in the next hour. Get your kids out of school. I think that's great. At the same time, if that gets hacked into, we could be looking at a major nightmare there. So that would be the second story that we wanted to kind of talk about. Finally, everybody knows I have a pet peeve about kids using social networking.
Well, sure, when you say kids, I think these social network sites should be for adults.
Well, it should be for adults, but at the same time, they have found out that 7.5 million children are using Facebook underage. Facebook has
Where are the parents?
Where are the parents in this? Exactly right. You hear about all the cyberbullying that's going on, how kids are really getting emotionally screwed up because of what's going on their Facebook.
They're building these relationships with these older people and they're flying across.
Yeah, you have to worry about the pedophile factor, but just the school factor of the peer pressure that these kids can feel by doing this social networking could cause a major, major issue. So again, folks, if you want to maintain some sense of parenting, make sure your
sanity.
Children... Yeah, that's insane. What we want to do is make sure that your children, if they're underage, and I usually say if they're under 17 years of age, that's a good age. If they're on Facebook...
come on, Stu, though. You know those 15-year-olds are, you're right, feeling that peer pressure. You're not on Facebook.
I've been watching the news, and I'm seeing these 15, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds committing suicide.
I know.
Teen suicides are up.
But but yet, how do parents? I mean, they have a hard enough time talking to their teens.
Look at their grades.
Okay.
Okay, if their grades are going down, they used to be a good student and now they're not. If they're saying they're going to go see their friends and they're clear across town, not friends that they go to school with, you should ask them.
Okay,
Check
so
it
just
out.
try to keep that open communication. I think
Absolutely.
is important.
And it's important the parents need to be involved. This is a very dangerous thing for small kids. You know, and I've had parents come in and say, well, my kid's 8 years old, he's on Facebook.
Right.
That's
Well,
very dangerous.
and you know about this because he has 3 grown children of
Right.
his own, and you've been through that process. And
Yeah.
you know, so hey, if you need some counseling or something, you need some help, or even parenting. You know, it's always nice to talk to another parent about, hey, listen, I'm
Absolutely.
going through this. What I need some help, or hey, I've got issues with my system at home.
And
What
also
can we
check
do?
with the schools. You know, maybe they have a brochure on how to protect these children better.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a great summer. Or it's coming up here
It's
pretty
getting
soon.
hot.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Sandia Computers, 3625 Wyoming Boulevard. Stop by the shop there or give them a phone call, 332-7777. And Guru Stu, you can catch him on 1550 Kiva. That's Saturday morning at 9 a.m.